Watching a basketball game comes with a chance to win a huge cash prize. Flanders is picked out of thousands of fans in the crowd. If he can make this half-court shot, the money is all his. Flanders uses his signature move, throwing the ball underhand. It bounces around the rim and somehow goes in. He instantly wins the cash, but he decides to donate every single penny to the church. The team owner is so moved by this noble act that he decides to double the prize money. Flanders' luck is so good, it's making people jealous, and nobody is more bitter about it than Homer. To Homer, seeing someone close to him get lucky feels exactly like he just got cursed. The prize money was so close. It actually hurts. It feels like a missed opportunity, and the jealousy is burning him up inside. Homer spies on Flanders' house and complains that God is just so unfair. Even the neighbor's lawn is greener than his. Marge points out that their own lawn is only ruined because Homer drove over it while drunk, but Homer covers his ears. He never reflects on his own mistakes. Blaming the rest of the world is basically his philosophy for a happy life. Homer gazes deeply at Flanders and asks for his secret to good luck. Flanders explains that his so-called luck is just the result of hard work, living a good life, and a little bit of prayer. Homer quickly thinks it over. Hard work and a good life. Yeah, those definitely aren't his style. So he decides to take the shortcut and go with prayer. He doesn't really believe in God, but he definitely believes God can give him good luck. It's a very practical kind of faith. Homer wants to change the channel but can't find the remote. So he decides to test out his new faith and prays for it. His little wish is instantly granted. As he kneels down, he spots the remote right under the sofa. Having discovered this life hack, Homer decides to speed run his faith. At work, he sacrifices his workstation to God. He even replaces his family photos with pictures of the big guy upstairs. After all, God can grant wishes, while family usually just crushes your dreams. After a whole day of hardcore worshiping, Homer feels it's time for his reward. On his way home, he prays for a literal miracle to fall from the sky. Figuring he has to meet God halfway, he closes his eyes and drives straight into oncoming traffic. The truck coming towards him swerves to avoid a crash, spilling its cargo everywhere. It's a truck hauling bacon and caramel. Homer takes a sweet hit and is showered with bacon and candy from the heavens. The junk food lover is absolutely ecstatic. Praying actually works. Now, all he has to do is repeat this winning formula, and all his life's problems will be solved. Later, a repairman tells him their house is falling apart, with the damp walls cracking in a very dramatic way. Faced with this massive problem, Homer plans go pray at the church. He needs to put his faith into overdrive. Suddenly, there's a scream, like a slaughtered pig, that lasts for a solid minute. He falls into a small hole, but he makes a huge scene. A passing, shady lawyer says he can help Homer sue the church. Homer believes this is a sign from God. God is so generous, he's willing to use his own donation money to fix Homer's house. The court accepts the lawsuit. The Reverend knows how things work. Before the trial, he tries to butter up the judge by asking how his wife is doing. Unluckily for him, the judge says his wife just ran off with a reverend. The reverend offers his condolences, but the judge is having none of it. He wants to make a reverend pay. So the reverend loses the case and is ordered to pay a massive settlement to Homer. The reverend says their small church doesn't have that kind of money. The judge rules that they have to give the church itself to Homer. Talk about a bad day. Through prayer, Homer has somehow claimed the church for himself. To give back to God, he completely changes the church's boring vibe. A big TV replaces the reverend's sermons, and the Holy Grail is filled with ice-cold beer. Wild party music echoes through the halls while Homer gets drunk in his underwear. The church used to host Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, but Homer doesn't think that's what God would want. After all God's creatures need a place to rest. His dog just needs a place to sleep, so the church becomes a giant doghouse. All the strict religious rules are thrown completely out the window. Next up, Homer decides to throw a massive beer party right in the church. Drinking in such a sacred place feels totally rebellious and exciting. The neighbors flock to the party, acting like graduated students returning to campus. The rules can't hold back their wild sides anymore. However, the town's most devout believers don't show up. The reverend sets up a temporary preaching spot at the bowling alley, gathering the last few faithful followers. If it weren't for the stray bowling balls hitting them, the Reverend could probably hold out a bit longer. But feeling completely defeated, he packs up his family and plans to leave town. The most faithful followers truly believe that God has abandoned Springfield. Flanders hides in his house, staring at the church that is now a paradise for sinners. He's forced to build a little shrine to God right in his living room. Meanwhile, the sinners at the church are playing blasphemous games, binge eating, and setting fires for fun. Dark smoke gathers in the sky, as if it's brewing up something terrible. Marge asks Homer if he's scared of God's wrath, since in the Bible, the big guy upstairs is always destroying the world with fire and floods. Homer says that's impossible. God is super chill. He's probably up there eating fried chicken and partying right along with them. He says, look, it might be pouring rain right now, but I'll just pray for him to turn that rain into booze to keep the party going. Suddenly, Homer gets struck by lightning. Divine punishment has arrived and everyone scrambles into the church. Flanders knows the time has come. The ark he's been building for years is finally going to be used. He gathers 2 of every animal in town, but they're all male. Flanders did this because he was afraid they'd do something inappropriate. But these frustrated bachelor animals have been cooped up for so long that they start going crazy. They're ready to jump on anything that moves. Soon enough, the floodwaters completely submerge Springfield. Having survived the lightning strike, Homer starts praying again, saying, God, why are you trying to kill us? We're just a bunch of ordinary people. You're high and mighty. You're amazing, so please don't take it out on us. But the heavy rain shows no signs of stopping. The floodwaters slowly creep up to the roof. Bart suggests that Homer should just shut up, as God probably doesn't want to hear his voice. Someone in the crowd steps up and says this is all Homer's fault. This heretic got everyone into this mess. His good buddy Moe even suggests sacrificing the fat guy to please the heavens. Homer is confused. He says, you guys were partying harder than I was. Why are you turning on me the second things go wrong? Aren't you afraid of bad karma? Just then, a ray of holy light shines right onto Homer's big bald head. The Reverend hasn't abandoned this sinful little town. He flies in on a helicopter and leads everyone in prayer. He says they were just tempted by a demon in blue pants. Amen. The crowd bows their heads. They figure they might as well play along to save their own skins. The sinners collectively shift the blame. Miraculously, the confession works. The clouds part, the sun comes out, and the divine punishment stops instantly. Lisa, being a highly logical and scientific person, believes this is all just a natural coincidence. A storm system caused the heavy rain, and deforestation caused the flooding. The only thing she can't explain is why the rain stopped so suddenly. Maybe there really is a higher power watching over us, and maybe there's more than one. Buddha and God could both be up there looking down, so maybe those so-called heretics weren't completely wrong. Colonel Sanders is up there too, because God really did want some fried chicken. The Reverend said everyone was tempted by the demon in blue pants. If Homer is the demon, then what does that make? The neighbors, they were having a blast when they were being tempted, but the second they had to face the consequences, they blamed it all on the demon. Honestly, that makes them look worse than the demon himself. At least the demon was true to his own desires. The demon didn't need them. They needed the demon. Some people say that it wasn't the demon who provoked our desires. It's the exact opposite, because we already have these restless desires deep down in our hearts. We actually go out looking for the demon.